This is the second stage of our module, and that's making copings. So we're going to start exactly the same, and we're going to put in the working model and the other one in the antagonistic. Make sure that these toggle in and out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to the draw surfaces, and we're going to do exactly the same as before. So I'll just fast forward this. Alright, next what we're going to do is we're going to go drill compensation. I don't see any sharp edges along this drill, along this one here. I'm going to select that one, and we're going to just check out for sharp edges. 1.1 or 1.2 or something. Expose. Okay, so we've got a little bit over here. Okay, so I'll just make a little marking like that, and we're going to block it out. If there's no thin areas, exit over here. Alright, let's go to survey. Now we can do them together or separate. In this case, they're pretty, they're not very undercut. And block out. Then what we're going to do is we're going to go to context and margins. So there's no context, but we need some margins. Note here that this is a separate object, but that will then disappear as soon as we're making margins. So either together or separate. I'll add a 0.1 to that. You see how that has disappeared. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go to the spacer. Let's do them together. Now this is how we're going to make copings. Go to the copings menu, and we're going to be selecting the spacer as our, like a sort of a target object. At the moment we can't select them because they've been purposefully deselected. So this one pops them up, and this one will be able to enable it. So click on that one. Now they are together. You can make these copings together or separate, but it needs to be selected. So if you have them separate, click on separate. Otherwise you can have them together. I can shift left click to keep them together and create coping layer. Now note that the zone I've left at 0.5 and this one is at 0.5, so they're equal thickness. You don't see the zone underneath purposefully so that we can actually visualize how thick these are. Now this is real, this is not double, this is real. So I'll put this behind here. I'll put something there that the user knows which one they need to double and which one they need to keep single. So this is 0.5 if you want to make them thicker or thinner depending on you. So okay, let's just leave them at 0.6. Then we're going to accept this. Okay, so this is basically what it looks like. Note that this bulb has been included in this whole layer. Okay, these are separate now, and we can either manipulate them together or separate. I want to have a look at the antagonist. So let's do them together. And you know, when we do two front teeth, often it is beneficial to have these together. So what we're going to do is we're going to go edit coping layer, okay, and then we're going to select, and then we're going to use the G key, and with the mouse wheel we're going to extend this support, because you know we'd like to have as much support as what we can, especially with zirconia or even PFM. I'll purposefully make it a little bit longer just to demonstrate what happens to the occlusion. And likewise, I'm going to do the same on this. I'm using the G key, or you can just left click and pull it. So you don't really have to use the G key, but I'm really used to using the G key. Okay, so we're going to just make them a bit thicker here. And I'd actually want to purposefully make a touch for support. Okay. So once we've got that sort of sorted and organized, if you're too close, you just left click here and pull it by 0.5 or whatever it is. All right, so now that we've got it, we will then commit to this. Just basically make it a little bit more supportive. Maybe something like that. Like that. Okay. All right, so we're going to go into object mode, and these are like a transparent. I may make them a bit less transparent. At the moment they're a little bit too transparent, but it's good enough for the video. Now we may want to trim the bite, because we can see here it's like going into the occlusion. So there's no need to select anything, just click trim all with the antagonist, and that'll cut it out. It'll duplicate the antagonist by 0.1 at default, just to make sure that it is in fact cleared. Okay, so we can see that has cleared, and this, we've got a nice cutout over there. Okay, that looks really good. All right, then we're going to click on one of them. Please don't do both at the same time, because we're going to cut through this mesh, and if they're both selected and they're so close together, this can create problems. So we're going to then click on generate upper coping, and the same then with this one as well. You can see how the green has come through. That's because the green layer was very similar in diameter than the actual copings. So what we're going to do is we're going to go and we can smooth it, but I'd like to inflate. So we're going to then, there's a few tools here that we're going to use. We've got a crease tool, add color, and I've selected these to go with what we need to do. So inflate. Every time we inflate, it will change color, so that your user knows that we are in that specific mode. And we'll just do that. We can smooth these both at the same time. So exit, and then never go tab to exit, because that will then not work correctly if you're trying to smooth it again or something, because we're using something called Dino Topo. So if we go into inflate, you'll see up top here that has been checked. If that is unchecked, it's not going to smooth it and remesh it at the same time. So here we go, that's done. And then what I want to do is, if I wanted to add a collar, for example, I go add collar, and then I'll draw a collar like this. So carefully just make a collar like that. And that would expand it outwards like that. And then what I want to do is I want to smooth this. So we're going to go into smoothing and just give it a gentle smooth down like that. And then we may want to make it a little bit sharper. So if I go onto crease, then that will bring up a tool like this. So as I move it, it will crease that into where I'd like it to go, so like that. And then if I crease it outwards, plus sign, we can then sharpen this edge as well, like that. So it's actually very easy. Once you get the hang of it, it's not difficult at all. And then I'll just smooth it down a little bit like this. You know, if we wanted to inflate it, or so this looks really good. And I think I'll leave it there. Actually, we're going to inflate this like that just to make sure it's perfect. And then exit. And that's how we then do the copings. Okay, let's have a look at the antagonist. And that's been cut out nicely. It's looking really, really, really good. Let's have a look at the mesh. The mesh structure is also looking nice. I'll have a look at the inside as well. Hide the inverse. Just let's hide the green zone. And we can see exactly where our cement spacer goes. And we can see on the inside where that's been blocked out earlier. And the mesh structure. It looks quite good. Alright, so this concludes the video. Thanks.